Miami has the Dolphins, the greatest football team. We take the ball from goal to goal like no one's ever seen. We're in the air, we're on the ground, we're always in control. And when you say Miami, you're talking Super Bowl, 'cause we're the Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins #1. Yes, we're the
Good evening, Dolphins fans. Welcome to another episode of the best, most positive banking show on all the internet, the Fins Bandwagon. Good evening, Dolphin fans. Welcome to another episode of the Fins Bandwagon, or how I've been acting this week, the Fins Overreaction Bandwagon. It's been a rough week for me, but I'm so happy to be with all of you here tonight. And Fish Tank Hank, my pops, sorry for being a few minutes late. Thank you for Bobby for moving the time a little bit, but I got here. I'm happy to be here. Pops, how you doing?
I'm doing fabulous. I just got a new tattoo today. So I'm doing great. I got a Miami Dolphins robot tattoo. It has Miami Dolphins colors, but
Gorgeous.
it's a robot, like a running back, like the Heisman with a football, carrying a football. So yeah. I got them done in Miami Dolphins colors. It came out nice, man. I really like it. And the artist that does it, I had to wait a year just to get on his list so that I could get the tattoo. So he's very sought after in the Orlando area. That's awesome. His name's Curtis Aldrich.
That's awesome. I got to see it a little bit before, but it is covered. So if you guys go on X, go on Twitter, and you can see the view before the color, after color. It's beautiful. I really, really like it a lot.
Yeah, he did a great job.
Yeah, it's all very, very cool. Check out Xender.
It's stuck under here, Ender.
It's stuck under there, but it's super cool. It's super, super cool.
It's on my Twitter, though.
Bobby told me not to rush, but that's what happens when you have 3 kids. Plus, Bobby, I'm Canadian. We don't like to be late for anything. If we're 2 minutes late, we're an hour late. We just hate being late. Even if when you move the time, we're still in the mindset of being on time. It's just one of those things. You gotta Fish Tank, Pops.
Yes, sir.
It's been a bit of a busy week for the Miami Dolphins. I must say the title of the show is synonymous with how I've been feeling all week. I got to be on the post-game show last week after the game against Jacksonville. Then I ended up on Tuesday night getting invited to go on with the whole Jonathan Taylor stuff, which we'll talk about at one point, with Steve and Rob on Real Talk Fins Talk, with Brett also. And we ended up being on there for almost 2 hours. Then East Gentry Boyd got sucked into that show for another almost an hour and 45. And I still have so much to talk about. It's unbelievable. And I must admit, last season, even with the Tyreek Hill, the hiring of Mike McDaniel, those signings, I thought, okay, that was exhausting. Then this season, I don't understand it. I am exhausted between the draft, Jalen Ramsey, the moves, all the running backs. The season hasn't even started yet. Yeah. And I am pooped. I am exhausted. This Miami Dolphins team, I don't know where I'm finding the juice. It must be adrenaline. But how are you feeling? I'm exhausted from all this stuff. What about you?
You know, I'll tell you, Evan, I'm kind of right there with you as far as people spreading misinformation. Yeah. I'm exhausted from that.
Yeah.
That's for sure. But, yeah, it does get a bit tiring. You know, you wanted to see certain things happen, and in my opinion, those certain things didn't happen in the offseason. And I'm talking the offensive line, like I've been saying for 20 years, the offensive line needs help, still needs help, but they say they got it. So what can I do? I'm a fan. So I just sit there and go, okay, I hope they got it. But, in the back of my mind, I'm a little leery, and I don't want to see Tua get hurt again.
No.
So
I will. Okay, I promise no negativity. Warm and fuzzies. I never said I was negative. I said I was exhausted because what I want to focus on is one thing I did want to focus on, and a lot of the stuff we talked about on the previous shows was about things that were not on the Dolphins team yet. I'm not going to talk about our general manager tonight. We're not going to talk about him. He's irrelevant to me right now. I want to talk about the on-field roster and the things that have happened on this team. Mike McDaniel. I don't want to talk about the coaching staff. I want to talk about our team, the makeup of the team, the things that have changed on the team, what we don't have anymore, but now what we're looking forward to. I want to have a fun time with you. So let's just get this out of the way. You haven't spoken about it, but we're going to put it in the rearview mirror. The Jacksonville game showed to us that I think they were just distracted. Part of the reason why I think they didn't play well was the fact that they didn't have Christian Wilkins. Zach Sealer couldn't play. And I think they were distracted. Because even at that point, the Jonathan Taylor stuff and all the other stuff that's been going around about the Dolphins and the misinformation that we all get sometimes sucked into because we can't help ourselves because we haven't gotten this much publicity in such a long time. That's what's exhausting me. I just want to focus on the team. I just want to focus on the good things that we have on this team. What do you think?
I agree. You can't worry about what isn't there either at the same time. I just said before, I'm still concerned in a couple areas. But you know what? You got to go with the flow. And the flow says, hey, we got what we got. We're going in. We're going to go get it. Would it have been nice to have a 3-down back, a blue chip running back, so to speak? Absolutely. But we didn't get it. That's okay. We have 4 other backs that they're going to have in there anyway. And trust me, those 4 backs can do that job. They can do the job. Now you want somebody that can be in there on every down, though. And unfortunately, we don't have that person. But you know what? We just signed Ingold. We're
going to get to Ingold. Leave the happiness after.
Yeah.
Ingold. We'll talk about the contract in a few minutes.
You know what? We just signed Ingold.
Yeah.
And the thing is, you need a thumper. That's what everybody's saying. He can run the ball too, people. Give him the ball. Let him run it.
There's a lot of things he can do. No, for me, the running game, the one thing I'm okay with now was when the truth actually came out and we found out what they truly wanted. There's no way we're ever trading Jalen Waddle. Now the rumor is they wanted Waddle in a second, or they wanted Wilkins in a second, or Hunt in a second. We're not people criticize our owner. I was always my biggest defender of our owner because he's just trying to win.
Yeah,
but he makes Jim Mercer, Chris Greer. I'm not going to talk. Chris Greer and Stephen Ross make are completely normal compared to these buffoons, Chris Ballard and Jim Mercer. They're sacrificing their best player. Do you think the Miami Dolphins would ever do that to their best player? They're not going to. They're not going to make him. They're not going to make him. What?
Back in the 90s, the Cowboys sacrificed their best player. And everybody thought that they had come in and ruined the Dallas Cowboys, and then a couple of years later they're winning back-to-back.
No, because they realized because when they started off 0-2 and they were getting thumped, they realized we better sign him right away. This team is going to lose their running back for 4 games. Like that doesn't make any sense to me. But honestly, when it comes to the running game, we can talk about the running game now because we're connected to it. But Savon Ahmed had an amazing preseason. He's a little bit banged up. So is Devon Achane. But though they're supposed to be both back for week 1, we know Raheem Mostert's going to get the rock in week 1. And he actually was really cool on Twitter. When he was interviewed, they posted that he was saying, like, you guys the misinformation really upsets him. It's not about the signing of the players. It's just the misinformation about our team.
He just gets tired of it.
Yeah, and Chris Brooks is going to be that 3rd down back. He's a thumper. He can do what he needs to do. Legs keep moving. Myles Gaskin went to go with Flores, but we have a good foundation there. So I'm very, very happy about that. But the big news of the day, which we'll talk about now, is because we're talking about running game, is Alec Ingold. So Alec Ingold signed a $12.2 million contract. $6 million of it is guaranteed, and it can have incentives of up to 17.2. Now, the thing is for me, when I saw this, I thought of Bobby right away because Bobby is obsessed with Alec Ingold. And Alec Ingold, if people have been talking about what they've seen in training camp, the guy is catching, the guy is blocking, the guy is running, the guy is good. Can even go. The guy does so many different things on this in this offense. He could serve as a slot tight end. There's so many things he can do. And last year, I think, was a misnomer for him because he was coming off that injury that he had the previous year. And I don't think he was 100% healthy most of the year. Yeah. But to get a healthy Alec Ingold who's happy to be here for more $4 million a year to help protect Tua, to catch, to run, to block, everything, it's a Swiss Army knife. And for Mike McDaniel, who used Kyle Juszczyk, who's an amazing fullback in San Francisco, this is a very, very, very smart move on the Miami Dolphins part. What do you think?
I totally agree. Get him signed. I mean, we were just talking about him, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
He's an important part of this team.
Yeah.
And he is your thumper. If you need to get those couple yards, you should be putting him in there with somebody else and get those yards. That's what he's there for. And, you know, if you said they're excited in training camp, that means hopefully, I'm hoping that they'll be using him a lot, you know, because I like him on the team. You know, I like how he does. I'm surprised they paid him and got him done and didn't try to do a little more with some other players, but that's all right.
I don't think they're done. They can sign up until Saturday, and I have a feeling, I'm convinced that the Christian Wilkins stuff they said at the end of the year, I don't think it's dead. There might be something the only player I thought might be able to do something was Connor Williams, but he's shown that he's not ready to be re-signed yet. But I predict there will still be 1 or 2 extensions coming down the way before the season starts. So for me, I don't mind the way they're doing it. And if they decide to sign Christian Wilkins ended up hurting himself because he's basically banking on himself, right? Because the one key area, let's all get this out of the way because we're talking about signings, is that the one key, if he had, instead of 14 sacks in 4 years, if he had 28 sacks or 30 sacks, he'd be signed. He wants money that all the other comparables to him he wants that without the sack numbers, and that's his main caveat. That's the issue for him, whether he's a leader or not. Plus, I think he also wanted high. We were offering $20+ million in the end, from what I'm understanding, but he wanted $25 million, and he's not going to get that. And by the way, if we're not going to sign him to $25 million, and look at what Kansas City is doing with Chris Jones, who's an established Super Bowl winner, who's proven what he's been able to do in the NFL. For me, 10.7, bank on yourself. Steelers a cog. Wilkins will end up getting signed, whether it's the end of next year.
Yeah.
And in the end, you and I both know this. If the Dolphins do what we all expect them to do this season, and we'd be disappointed if they don't, Tua's extension and Wilkins' extension will be signed like that. Like if everything goes exactly how we expect it to happen, both of those guys will be. So I'm not concerned about that at all. They're going to earn their paycheck. But I also want them to be motivated. I feel that right now, the one thing I've been saying is that maybe the running backs are going to be a little disjointed over what's happened by signing all these running backs. But personally, I think the overall concept of the Miami Dolphins is they can't turn 4 years ago, you turn on the TV. Maybe once every 6 months you see something on the Miami Dolphins. The Miami Dolphins are on every single on every single channel, whether it's Good Morning Football, NFL Live, Fox Sports, First Take. It doesn't matter who it is. The Miami Dolphins are in the news every single solitary day.
I love it.
You know,
I love it. I think it's a great thing. I mean, it's great to be in the news, but you got to produce. Yeah. You know what? It's fun and games to be in the news, but you got to produce on the field.
You're a pretty calm guy. What would have been your reaction? Because I have to know. If they would have told you, we have a breaking news trade, you look at your phone, the Miami Dolphins trade Jalen Waddle for Jonathan Taylor, would you have been would you have lost your mind? I think you would have actually lost your mind.
I would have been PO'd, I can tell you that, right? Because I would have been pissed off.
Because what people have to make sure of, whether he has issues, Jalen Waddle is the future wide receiver for this team for the next 10 years. Tyreek Hill is the best player on this team.
It's hard to have 2 wide receivers that are that good, and you don't get rid of half of a duo.
And the younger one. You don't get rid of the younger one either, right?
Yeah.
You don't get rid of the guy who's on this rookie contract and who's the star of who's arguably the top 3 player on this team, right? Like
he could also be a number 1 wide receiver too.
On most teams he'd be number 1.
You know, if Hill wasn't there, who do you think number 1 would be? Waddle.
Exactly. Like we saw 2 years ago when even in Flores' last year, the guy had no help whatsoever, didn't have Tyreek Hill, and he still caught the most. He has the rookie record for receptions. The rookie record for receptions. He did it by himself.
Exactly.
So for me, that would have been very, very disappointing.
Yeah, that would have been more than disappointing.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you something. Are you thinking about how Miami's going to do this season yet?
I have. I have them at the 11 win total right now,
Okay.
only because of the injury concerns. I had them at 12 wins to be conservative when we had Jalen Ramsey and we had Vic Fangio. Now that because even the hot start might bother me, but if I could see they can overcome the first 4 games, because this first 4 games of this season are a lot harder than last season, then I think I'll probably change my tune. Right now, I have them at 11 to 12 wins.
Right on, Joseph.
Yeah.
Says the NFL isn't going to take any
I was going to
action
talk about
against him.
Tyreek in a minute. That's the very big positive for me today. But no, for me, I have them at 11 to 12 wins, but I need, honestly, in the end, you know me. No matter how positive I've always been, I'm Mike McDaniel's harshest critic, and I need him to utilize in that game for the sake of Tua and for the sake of the over and the defense to not be on the field a lot as much. Is you need to be able to have sustained drives, so you have to have a balanced attack. I know it can't be 50-50. I know it won't be 60-40, but even if it's 70-30, I like on the first play, my judgment of Mike McDaniel will actually be it's okay, Joseph. You're welcome to the show. It's a pleasure. I don't want him throwing the ball on the first play, because that's what he does. He wants a quick snap, give to let the play come to you. Like let the running game establish itself. Because when he's let the running game establish itself, like we've seen, it works. Savon Ahmed, minus the 65-yard runs he had the preseason, still averaged 5 yards a carry. That's our fourth running back. That shows you that if you actually do something with it, you actually take advantage of your ingenuity, you're going to be fine. So what are your thoughts on that? Like, where are you with your positivity right now in terms of their record? With everything after all this?
I went from 15 to 13 to now I'm holding at 12.
Yeah.
I'm all the way down at 12-5 right now.
Because of Tanner Connor, right? No more Tanner Connor. They didn't even put him on the practice roster.
You got rid of my man. You got rid of my man. You know,
Tyler Croft is back.
So, no, I'm down at 12-5, just simply based on injuries and everything else, and cumulatively how poor our backups played. Yeah. But they played good enough to where I'm not overly concerned either. So I didn't like the way that they stopped the run. You got to put the a little bit of everything in there to get to the positive. Okay. However, we have 4 backs and they weren't all in there. And that's the thing. It was all preseason. I don't care about preseason. I never do. I want to see our new players get out there. I want to see players that are fighting for it be out there and make the squad. I want to see those things happen. But you know what? It's at the end of the day, it doesn't count on the win-loss columns.
Okay.
So
let's appease Joseph right now, and then we'll get back into the crux of the core. I'm going to name you the team. You're going to say win-loss, and we're going to see where the first losses are. So I'm going to count on 0, and you're going to give me the 5. I'm going to name you the teams, okay?
Okay.
First game, Chargers.
We're going to win that one.
Okay, so no losses yet. Patriots.
Going to win that one.
Broncos.
Going to win that one.
At Bills.
We're going to lose that one.
Giants at Miami.
We're going to lose that one.
The Giants game? Okay.
Yes.
Panthers at Miami.
We're going to win that game.
At Eagles.
Going to lose that game.
Patriots in Miami.
Going to win that game.
Chiefs in Germany.
We're going to win that game.
Raiders.
We're going to win that game.
Dolphins at the Miami, and the Dolphins take over in New York on Black Friday.
Ooh, we're going to drop that one.
Commanders.
We're going to win.
Titans.
Ooh, that one we're going to lose.
So you expect us to win the last 4 at home? Almost. You expect us to beat the Dolphins? Sorry, you expect us to beat the Jets at home, Cowboys at home, Ravens on the road, and Bills at home?
Yep.
Okay, pretty
Yeah.
good. I don't. By the way, because you're very smart there, you're basically telling us that they're going to go pretty much like 5-1 in December. Mazel tov! Congratulations. Very smart on your part. You're very smart. Yeah. No, it's very, very cool. No, I could do the same thing, so I'll do it quickly. Chargers win, Patriots win, Broncos win,
Yes, Joseph.
Bills lost.
That's right.
Bills
The
lost.
they're going to beat Kansas City because it's basically a neutral site.
Yeah.
They're not going to be in the Chiefs Stadium with the chop going on.
Yeah. The Bills will lose to, the Giants will beat, the Panthers will beat, the Eagles will lose, the Patriots will beat, the Chiefs we will beat, the Raiders we will beat, the Jets we will lose, the Commanders we will win, the Titans we will win, the Jets we will win.
I hope you're right, Joseph.
The Cowboys we will lose the Cowboys we're going to lose. The Ravens we will win. And the Dolphins, we won't need it, but the Bills, we won't need it to close the season because we're going to the division, and Tua won't play. We'll lose to the Bills at home. So there's your 5. I don't think we're going to. I just have to pick right now how I'm thinking because I think they're going to take the Bills lightly.
I think the Bills Dolphins game is going to come down to who wins the AFC East.
Yeah, it's tough.
So I see both quarterbacks playing because they're not going to let the title go to.
But honestly, it's going to change every game for me because by midway season they're going to be 15-2, right?
We're going to be going crazy this year because we have 3 formidable teams in our division. You know, you don't ever count the Patriots out with Bill Belichick. Hate to say it, but you don't. You don't just count them out. They're not a check win. But I think we're built better than they are. So
this is the bandwagon, and you're 7-10. Get off my bandwagon! Just kidding. But you know what gives me pause? The greatest pause is when now all over social media, it's Chris Sims, the Dolphins hater, and Mike Florio telling everybody that if the team is healthy, even with a banged up Jalen Ramsey, you have him for December for the run, they're winning this division. When these are the haters. So the fact that they actually believe in the talent of this team is unbelievable.
You're going to have your full talent come December. Yeah. That's why
we're going to go over the 53-man roster after in a little bit. But I want to talk about quickly. We'll talk about the offensive line and the defense. I just want to get through it out. What a relief for Tyreek Hill. What a relief for us. To lose him for even one game would have been a little disheartening. We're lucky that the NFL cannot use. If he wouldn't have gotten hurt, they can never use what happened to him before he was in the NFL. But because of what he did, they could have actually used the stuff he did in college as a basis for maybe suspending him. But I guess they didn't believe it was egregious. And I have a feeling he hasn't been at the last 2 practices. I have a feeling he must have been in New York meeting with the NFL to get this resolved. And in the end, it was a lot of brouhaha in the end. And I think, you want to know what? Let him play. Let him play. Yeah.
Let him go, says Evan. Just let it roll on down.
Yeah.
Well, I still believe that Miami has a lot in the tank and a lot to prove.
Yeah.
And a lot of people just keep assuming that Tua is going to get hurt. And, you know, I'm so over hearing that he's going to be hurt and this and that, you know. Let's let the season ride out. After the first 3 or 4 games and when we're winning, people are going to be like, oh, whoa, wait a minute. He is good. Wait, he is really good. Wait. MVO. I don't want to start saying it now because that's how it went last year. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
And, you know, everybody's talking MVP and everything else, and then he got hurt. So
no. But for me, they do, Hank. I'm just very worried about the O-line. So we're going to talk about that. See, Joseph, are you in my brain? You're taking away all my fun. Come on, buddy. Come on. But no, for me, in the end, I just want us to just enjoy the ride. And I feel like right now that some people are sucking. But the one thing I also want to get very, very clear, and I'll admit I'm an overreactor most of the weeks until I get on with my pops and calm myself down. But I came to realize this week how because I think it's really because we haven't won, but the bipolarism of this Miami Dolphins squad of fan base, there are so many people who think they're sources, need to be in the know, who want their 15 minutes. What did he say? Military Evan have a lot of time to keep up with the team. But no, it's amazing. It's just the people here. That's the one thing I took off as I really reflect the amount of negativity we have a little bit on this network. When we have people on this network who are Cowboy fans, who are Packer fans, but for some reason they can't help but insult our team. Right? They're always going to be hard on them. And you wonder what? Why can't you just be positive? Why can't you? Yes, realism is a tough word, but we're judgmental of our team, but we try to always find the positive of it. So for me,
I always give my team the benefit of the doubt rather than the opposite way. The only ones that I didn't was because they bamboozled themselves with the Jets and the Bills. You know, they shot themselves in the foot.
Yeah.
You know, they should have done some different things, in my opinion. But you know what? You can't just look back. Our defense is great at stopping the run. So it doesn't matter that they got another running back, does it? No, it really doesn't matter. Their offensive line isn't all that solid either. So that's the Jets.
Okay.
So, there are weaknesses on every team. Their secondary, they have Sauce Gardner, who was grabbing everybody last year. I think after the refs watch film on themselves and realize that they let him get away with that many holds and that many pass interferences, because they grade themselves, they watch tape too, folks. Yeah. And I'm here to tell you, they're not going to allow that to happen again.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's talk a little bit before we go through the 53-man roster. Let's talk about the offensive line, because that's always the elephant in the room. We don't have, how I was after the post-game show, and I'm sure I said to Bobby and I said to people, I was staring at the second play of the Jags game, and Tua wasn't under center. And I go, he better not fly this over his head. He better not sail this. If he sails this, his contract talks are cooked. And what does Connor Williams do? He shoots it over his head. Yep. And I kept on saying to myself, at least he's a good blocker. At least he's a good blocker. At least he's a good blocker.
Everybody says what a great center he is, but look how that affected
how he blocks.
Outcome.
Yeah, no, how he blocks is what they like. But you know what he actually did? I turned it around. No, all he did, though, is he taught me something. Tua has been falling really, really well when he's being tackled. But one thing Tua has not learned, and I hope he's been practicing this in his jiu-jitsu class, is I hope they're throwing footballs over his head. He's running to get them, and he lands on them. Because you're supposed to slide, but he landed right on it, bounced off, and then knocked it away. He almost hurt himself by going to get that football. Tua, don't do that. So maybe he taught Tua a lesson by shooting it over his head. But what was your reaction when you got the 53-man, even though we're going to go over it? And we actually do not have an actual natural center on our team. We have Lester Cotton, Liam Eichenberg, and Connor Williams.
Yep.
How does that give me the positive spin on that one?
The positive spin on that one is how good Connor did last year, with the exception of his hiking of the ball over people's heads, which he still does.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's the positive.
Yeah. He
faced for life.
Yeah. He faced. What's up, man? How's up, Eric?
Fins up, Eric.
Yeah, no Lillard, no Garrett, no Nelson or Chosen. We're going to talk about the whole roster. We just got one on the waivers. I think that we got, what's his name? Who did we get on waivers? We got, didn't we just sign, what's his name? Who did we just sign? If you remember, just let me know. I haven't been able to keep up with everything today.
No, I've been busy.
No, I haven't been able to keep up. But honestly, I sort of hope that Liam, no offense to Liam Eichenberg, I wouldn't mind seeing him take a little bit of a break and then bring up Aluma Olave. I liked him at center during the preseason, so at least he's on the practice roster. But no, the offensive line for me is what it's going to be, and we just need them to keep everything stable. And let's hope and pray Teron Armstead gives us 15 games, and if he does, then we're golden. And if not, we'll see. Oh yeah, you got past defensive end. We got what's his name, Chase Vinovich. I remember him. pass rusher. We got another pass rusher.
So wait a minute. Eric says no linebacker Miller or Garrett.
Yeah, we didn't get Garrett. We didn't keep Garrett Nelson. We didn't keep Malik Reed. We didn't keep Aubrey Miller. We didn't keep Chosen Anderson. But
we didn't keep Chosen.
No, Chosen was dropped. We kept Craycraft, Barrios, Izukama. We restructured Wilson. So Cedric Wilson restructured his deal. So it's going to cost us a lot less on the cap. And we have Waddle and we have Hill. But in the end, we'll come to the roster.
I like that. I'm
going to go through the roster. But no,
let's do the roster.
Let's do the roster. Let me pull up the roster
because I haven't looked at it. So
okay, we'll go through the roster, and then we'll go through.
So far, it's a pleasant surprise. The names I'm hearing.
Yeah. So we'll go through the roster, and we'll go through it together.
You guys, I got my thing on. It's still bleeding, leaking a little bit.
Yeah, and then you'll be okay. Hammer time. So let's look at the quarterbacks. Guys, don't forget to like and subscribe. I love all of you. We all love all of you. Join the bandwagon. By the way, on next week's bandwagon, will have to talk to Hank after. Thursday's going to be tough for me. If he's free on Friday night, we're going to do it as a preloader into the Saturday of Finn's Talk today. But we'll see what we can work out. We'll find a day, whether it's Wednesday or we'll figure out a day next week because I have something for my kid's school. So Tua, Thompson, and Mike White. If Mike White is healthy, who's your number 2?
If Mike White is healthy,
is it Skyler or is it Mike White? If Mike White's 100% right now, who's your number 2?
Skyler
Thompson or Mike White?
Skyler.
Even after, so you think he's still? You think he's won the job?
I don't think he's won the job. I just think he's healthier.
Then shouldn't we cut Mike White at $4 million? Or I think the money's going to talk a little bit, right?
I'm not the GM, man.
I know.
I'm not the GM. I just go with what the flow is. Like I said, I go with what's going on. Yeah, my wife just came and bandaged me up. I was leaking.
She's the best. She's the best. If I haven't told her yet, she's the best.
She just doesn't want
it on the furniture. I think it's really a toss-up. Let's just hope. Let's just put it to you this way: the positive vibes of the bandwagon are going to tell Tua, find a guy, let it fly. Dan Marino said it. And by the way, speaking of Dan Marino, to put a smile on your face.
Yeah, I read that one today.
How did that make you feel that Joe Montana didn't pick, of all the players he could pick, Dan the man?
Yeah. Yeah. And that speaks volumes.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking during Joe Montana's time, they had some great quarterbacks going around, and Dan Marino, if he thinks he was all that, it's not just Miami Dolphins fans,
You're welcome.
That's the whole thing. It wasn't a Miami Dolphins fan. It was another professional quarterback who had been known as Cool Joe in the Super Bowls, who could come through in the clutch every time, and he did. And he turns around and says Marino's the best. Well, I'd believe him.
Yeah, it's amazing. I love it. Question for you. This is actually a really great question from G. Will we be targeted with the Tua rule? We're in preseason. We already had a quarterback in protocol. Do you feel that they're going to be, if the moment they see anything from Tua, even if it's nothing, they're going to yank, and then that will become the controversy of the season?
No, I don't think they're going to do that. I think they're going. I think it might. I think it's probably going to happen to somebody. It's going to happen to somebody.
Yeah.
I hope it's not Tua, but I believe it will happen to somebody.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there will be a big controversy over it, I'm sure.
Yeah. I want to get him his Super Bowl. Marino deserves a Super Bowl. So, as we know today, Jeff Wilson was put on IR. So, he has a finger issue and he has an abdomen issue. So, right now, starting the season, he's on IR. So, right now, they don't really have another running back on the practice squad. So, they're going to be because they have Ingold, but there's Mostert, Wilson, who's going to be out, A-Chain, Ahmed Brooks. So, how did you feel that they ended up choosing to keep an undrafted free agent in Chris Brooks over Miles Gaskin, who's now with the Vikings, and Brian Flores? What's up? 2-4-2-3-4-2-3-2-3-4-2-3. I love your name.
How do I feel about it?
Are you okay with losing Miles Gaskin, who does similar things to the other guys, but each one like that have Chris Brooks? I love Chris Brooks.
I'm fine with losing Gaskins because I thought it would be Gaskins and Wilson.
Yeah. Yeah.
All along, I thought if we lost somebody, that's who it would be, is those two. Yeah. So I'm fine with it.
How do you? So we talked about Ingold. We'll all have maybe Scotty. You never know. By the time he comes back, maybe he'll be part of a trade package. You never know. And we love you. 2-3-4-3. You're welcome on the show anytime. We can drop the link if you ever want to show. Just DM me and Hank. You're happy to come on the show. Tyreek, Jalen, Wilson, who they restructured, Eazy-E, Barrios, Craig Kraft. Are you surprised they didn't keep Chosen? I'm not, and I'll tell you why. But were you disappointed they didn't keep Chosen?
You know, I was a little surprised I didn't keep him because he is a bigger wide receiver. So that part surprises me. That's why when I just read before that Chosen wasn't there, I was like, oh, okay. But when you put the players that we have in place, I'm all right with it. I'm good. I like our wide receiver core.
Yeah, no, the reason why I think they didn't keep him is with the also it doesn't. I don't think it's the only reason, but with Elijah Campbell being banged up, Justin Bethel being banged up, even though they re-signed Justin Bethel, Elijah Campbell's on IR, is the fact that Eazy-E, Barrios, Craig can if he needs to. Wilson, Waddle and Hill won't have to, but these guys all play special teams. They can kick return, they can punt return, they can block, they can do what they need to do on special teams. Chosen doesn't play special teams, so he's very one-dimensional. Yeah. These guys are Swiss Army knives.
That's why I knew Barrios got picked up over Chosen. So
yeah, for sure.
You know, and there's a clear height difference between the two of them.
For sure.
You know, and you know, you got to go with players that are available and that you can have on the field in different aspects of the game. And it's nice that we have that ability with the players that we kept. So I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah. What were your thoughts on? I made a prediction. We end up keeping 6 running backs and two tight ends, but now they brought back Tyler Kroft. They actually re-signed him because they put some players on IR, so they had room for Tyler Kroft, Durham Smythe, and Julian Hill. So now I'm going to give you a mulligan, and guys, we're all waiting for it. Who will have more touchdowns? Durham Smythe, Tyler Kroft, or Julian Hill? I'm giving you a new tight end option.
Go ahead. Give me those 3 one more time.
Durham Smythe, who's been with our team for a few years, the undrafted free agent, and Julian Hill, or Tyler Kroft, who's played with Mike McDaniel before. Which guy is good? Who just added back to the roster?
Kroft.
Okay. All right. Guys, you heard it here. He likes the guy starting with the letter T.
With the letter T.
Yeah.
No, I say Kroft.
Yeah.
I say Kroft will get it more, but the other guy might do better.
Okay.
Overall, as far as yards per catch, etc., yak, etc., etc. So,
I get it.
You know, but who are they going to get the ball to a lot? It's going to be Kroft.
Yeah.
It just is.
Good point. Offensive line, Teron Armstead, Isaiah Wynn, Connor Williams, Robert Hunt, Austin Jackson, Kendall Lamb, Robert Jones on IR, Liam Meikenberg still a little banged up, Lester Cotton, Keon Smith. I'm not going to. I'm like apathetic.
Bobby's getting in his. Hey, I picked this. I'm sticking with it. I got it before preseason.
I actually think he's going to use his tight end a little differently because
Bobby, if you call anything for before preseason and it actually works, you are nothing but lucky.
Yeah, I'd like to see you. By the way, that's one thing I want to say about Julian Hill. Congratulations to Julian Hill. Because Elijah Higgins, whether you believe it or not, Elijah Higgins, they tried to convert from tight end to wide receiver, but he was a tight end. We dropped him. We tried to get him back on our practice roster, our practice squad. But according to the league, there was 4 or 5 teams who had interest in Elijah Higgins, our 6th round pick, and Arizona was the highest on the waiver wire, so they nabbed him. But for me, Julian Hill did what he had to do as an undrafted to beat out a guy they drafted. So good for him.
Yeah.
So
I like I said, I think Hill will shine too, but I just think they're going to get the ball. No,
I'm going to explain to you, Joseph, why they let Mike go. When Mike goes onto the field, Mike Gesicki, it's a pass play. With these 3 guys who are actually good blockers, you can disguise the run and go with the pass. That's the difference. These guys are going to be open way more than Mike Gesicki was because they can block. So people are never going to know in the RPO offense. If Mike Gesicki, you always know if he's on the field, there's a pass. They've never run the ball because every time they tried to run the ball, he's goofed up something. So when he's coming across. So for me, I believe that they're going to actually do well this year, the tight ends.
Right on. I'm trying to take my bandage off now.
I get it. Now let's talk about the defense. Christian Wilkins, Zach Sealer, Emmanuel Ogbo, Raekwon Davis, and congratulations to Brandon Peely. Wilkins and Sealer, I think for you, that's the glue of the middle. Those 2 guys that are not on the team. Because if you remember, last year in Buffalo, when we were losing and we were down, the 2 players that got us back in that game, the 2 players who motivated us and kept on getting us off the field were Zach Sealer and Christian Wilkins. By the way, have you been able to comment on Zach Sealer signing? I don't think you have, eh?
No, I'm thrilled to death that.
How did you feel about that?
I am thrilled to death to know that they got him done. That is the second part of the dynamic duo in the center of our defense. I'm ecstatic that we got that.
Yeah.
Yeah. How's it going, babe?
Good.
Yeah, and so for you, are you okay that they signed him before they signed Christian Wilkins? You're okay with that?
Yeah, I'm okay with that because they signed him to a completely different amount.
Yeah. But also the reason for me, I just want to make it clear to everybody, I love Christian Wilkins, but no, unless he gets double-digit sacks this year, he's in no way worth double Zach Sealer.
Yeah.
Simple as that to me. He's not double his pay. No matter how you look at it, how you slice it.
Yeah, he's not. You can't even argue that.
Yeah, and in the end, you're right, Joseph. They were smart. In the end, we all wanted a bell cow, but we're not giving up the farm for him. That's for sure.
Yeah.
How do you think Emmanuel Ogba, guys? The reveal is happening. The Saran wrap is coming off. Are we gonna get to show it off now?
I need a paper towel.
Okay, let me know when you're ready to show it off.
It's gooey.
I know. When you're ready. What's your thoughts on what's your feel on Emmanuel Ogba on this defense from what we've seen?
Emmanuel Ogba?
Yeah, because he's on this roster, but he still hasn't found his way yet. So how do you think you think the preseason the regular season he'll find his way, or he's just going to be a $17 million headache?
No, he's definitely going to find his way.
Okay.
He's definitely going to find his way. Okay. Let me go rinse my arm off, and I'll be right back.
Okay, go rinse your arm, and I'll look at all the comments. Wilkins doesn't get the sacks. He creates sacks for Phillips and Chubb, and you're right. That's what I want. He's a complimentary player, but he still needs to get to the quarterback if he wants to get paid. If he wants $15 million for what he does now, we'll pay him tomorrow. But if he thinks he wants $25 million without getting the sacks, that's not going to happen with Chris Greer, no matter what. So that's what I think. And you're right, Scotty, getting Deshaun Han and that group. So let's see if I can pull up the practice squad. Miami Dolphins, because there's so many names on there I don't even recognize because they grabbed some guys. Miami Dolphins. Let me just pull that up. Guys, don't forget to like and subscribe to the Finstock Sports Network. You're going to have a lot of fun with us. It's a lot of fun here. Let's see. Assigned 8 to the practice squad. Let's see who they are. Let's see. They don't make it easy on the internet anymore. Roster moves. They signed 8 today from different members of the team. They signed a tight end Nick Bowers, so we'll see what he can do. Running back Darrington Evans. This year there was a beautiful 35 run that Cameron Wolf from NFL Network posted. Offensive lineman, Chasen Hines. That's another guy we'll have. Safety, Joshua Kalu. Defensive tackle, Rashard Lawrence. Tackle, James Tunstall. Wide receiver, Riley Webb. Defensive, and Chase Vinovich. And then they have a few of their other players. The surprising for me is they didn't take on Malik Reed or Aubrey Miller or Tanner Connor. They let those guys go. But they have Justin Bethel, who's not going to be ready to play for a while. But overall, they signed some interesting guys. And you want to know what? You never know who might be there. And they still have Aluma Yolave, and they still have some.
Ready, Evan?
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm good. You're good? Oh, guys, take the reveal. That is awesome. Guys, thumbs up. Guys, if you get all your friends, your family, your neighbors, your dogs, your cats to like and subscribe to the Finstock Sports Network, because that's the new mascot of the Finstock Sports Network. Bobby, I expect the logo of that tattoo in the under Hank at the bottom corner of our show next week. So get your get that going. That's gorgeous.
Just got that done today.
It's beautiful.
Yep.
Yeah, we didn't sign anyone out of our camp to the 53. Yeah, that's a group. We're not done yet. Scotty, we might still sign some players. I was just going over the practice squad roster, Hank, because a lot of the guys are some random people they picked off, but they got a tight end, they got another running back, an offensive lineman, a safety. They really covered their bases with their positions. No one's standing out, but at least they got to do something. Duke? What's up, Duke? It was great to see you all week this week. You're a pleasure. If we go back to the 53 man. There's no surprises there. There's no Channing Tindall is the lone guy who has to prove himself this year, but they have Duke Riley. Those are special team guys. You have Van Ginkel, Long.
What's up, Realtor?
Yeah, what's up, Realtor? But overall, I think the defense I think the center of the field, we've been hard on them, but I think in the end, this is the team. I think we're going to be sack machines this year. I will be surprised. I will be disappointed if Jalen Phillips, who's been, I think he's ready to go. He had a bit of a weird preseason, but I think him and Chubb are chomping at the bit. And I have a feeling, even though we're not a blitz-heavy team, they're going to get a total of 20 sacks between the two of them.
Oh, I see big things for us as far as our defensive ends and coming in or linebackers.
We didn't try to claim anybody.
Whatever you want to call them, the guys on the ends, because they change up every time. Phillips, Ogba, who's the other guy with the short name?
David Long?
No, yeah, Long. I like Long too. Yeah. Long looked like he was doing nice. I like
just a small guy.
I saw, but like they say, he has his bad habits too. Everybody does, so.
Yeah. The one area which is a little crazy.
Here you go, Realtor. I showed it before when you wasn't here.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. It's beautiful. Yeah, Baker's a character, but at least he'll do his job. So, Hank, the one area which is a little, you can never have too many corners, but the one area people have actually been criticizing is the secondary. We have Kelvin Joseph, who we traded for Noah. Oh, I had to ask. I jumped for joy. How was your reaction to say bye to Noah?
I'm happy. Hello.
Yeah.
We should have another wasted draft pick. So that's a good thing that they got rid of him. But you did put 3 years. 4 years of work into this young man, and now you just let him go to another team. So it's kind of a mixed bag a little bit. You know what I mean?
He admitted his wrong. At least Chris Greer admitted his wrong. But Kelvin Joseph is also a special teams guy, and he's going to rap with Teron Armstead because he's also a gangster rapper. So he'll have some fun. But I actually they're honestly, we never have too many cornerback. This was the disappointing. So we have Jalen Ramsey, IR. You have Xavier Howard, Eli Apple, Kader Kohu, Cam Smith, the newly signed Kelvin Joseph, Javon Holland, Brandon Jones, Hassan Elliott, Elijah Campbell, and Veron McKinley, who are a little banged up. But for me, the more the merrier. The one I'm most shocked about, which I was kind of disappointed in, is they couldn't find a roster spot for Trill Williams. Because Trill Williams into last year, we felt that him and Needham were going to be a problem. Now, once again, we don't even have either one because one's on IR for the rest of all of next season because Needham's not going to be ready this year due to an injury. And Trill Williams, we didn't even get him we didn't even sign him to the practice squad. So he's gone. He's like Tanner Connor.
Yeah,
Off the team. Bye-bye.
That was kind of weird that they yeah, that was a weird one, but I'm good. Once again, I'm good. You know, I'm good every time. You got to cut people. You can't keep everybody. I wish I don't know why they haven't expanded the 53-man roster with every year you have teams just trying to come back. Make it 60 and be done with it already.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, at least they allowed.
I mean, come on. What's
no.
additional 7 people? Do it already.
At least they allowed us to have emergency quarterbacks, right? So people don't run into the situation that the 49ers ran into
How
last
nice
year.
of them.
Yeah, no, it's so. Yeah, I agree because in the game of football, it's so quick to lose players. You see, even now heading into the season, I still think this team is fluid. I don't think they're done. There's players like the Akeem Hicks, who's played in the Fangio system, Bryce, who's the defensive guy, who can play defensive line, and then you have Bryce Callahan, who they brought in for a workout, who's played with Ronaldo Hill and played with Vic Fangio in Chicago. Oh yeah. But that's true. We didn't bring in. We re-signed Nickerson outside of Croft. Yeah, pair Nickerson because he's taking over for Jalen Ramsey. So that's true. He had a good preseason. You're right. Thank you, Scotty. I appreciate it. Can't remember every single name. I'm telling you. That's the thing about the Dolphins. Guys, the theme of my show is I'm exhausted. Not in a bad way, but there's so much movement. There's so much going on with the Miami Dolphins. I cannot keep up with it. Every minute there's a swipe, and whether it's Barry Jackson or Cameron Wolfe or Marcel Louis-Jacques or Alan Poupart or Omar Kelly, I'm plugging all these guys. Come on the shows. I'm telling you, these guys, they're constantly, every minute of every day, there's something happening with the Miami Dolphins. So I actually think that more is going to happen over the next few days. I don't think they're going to go another week without a signing. I wouldn't be surprised if we hear Miami Dolphins news about either a signing or an extension every single day between now and the rest of the season. I think they're tweaking. I actually think that Vic Fangio, I don't think Vic Fangio is comfortable with his defense yet. I don't think he's perfected it yet. And if he can go, even if he has to cut someone to go get a Bryce Callahan or whatever, I think the practices that they're going to have over the next couple of days between now and Tuesday before they start getting ready for the next game are going to be telling. And they're going to watch some video, and they might just say, you want to know what? We've done this before. Remember, Flores' first year, they cut someone on Monday. The guy would sign him on Tuesday. He'd be starting on Sunday.
Yeah.
Remember those days?
Yeah.
They used to walk into a Flanagan's, find the guy with the biggest guy in the room and bring him, hey, you want to come play football? So, anyways, overall, what was your biggest takeaway from the roster? Where do you feel like the biggest area? What position are you most excited about, and what position are you more cautious about?
I'm always cautious about this offensive line.
Yeah.
Always. I just am. I can't get past that. But, however, the positive side is that they got players on this team that can play a multitude of positions. That tells me something right away, that they're ready this year if somebody does go down. I'm not saying the quarterback, because no team is ever ready for their quarterback to go down. Okay? That's your starting quarterback. There's only 32. Okay? That's just the way it is. And, you know, I don't see us losing anybody that there isn't somebody we can't plug in there if we really have to. Like you said, you could pick up Hicks or somebody else if something happens to somebody in the middle. Things like that. You might be a little concerned at cornerback too. You know, if you sit there and look at the cornerbacks, you might be concerned if you don't trust those people that are taking Ramsey's spot. I trust the people that are there, though, so that's my take on them. Wide receivers, we're doing great. I mean, no qualms, none. Safety, who's playing opposite of Holland? Do you know?
It's probably going to be Deshaun Elliott if it's
Deshaun Elliott.
Brandon Jones won't be ready.
Yeah, I wasn't sure who it was going to be.
It's going to be Deshaun Elliott.
Deshaun Elliott. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Because maybe that's why they might go figure something out, because they might still go sign another safety, because in this scheme from Ronaldo Hill and especially Vic Fangio, the two safeties are in and out of the box, back and forth. They're shifting back and forth to center field, back to the box. And I could see that Holland really wants to play the box more than he wants to play center field, but I feel he might need to play center field because Elliott's maybe better in the box, but we'll see.
Yeah.
I want to address Duke's comment. We don't have real stars at tight end and even running back. You want to know what? Mike McDaniel seems to do a lot of things with average Joes because his stars are on the defensive ends, on the edge rushers, and they're on the wide receivers. And in this league, the way it's been developed, it's a passing league. The teams that have been winning down the sidelines. If you look at the two teams in the Super Bowl last year, they were going to A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith and Dallas Goedert, and they were going to Travis Kelce, and they were going to Juju Smith-Schuster, and they were going to Kadarius Toney. They weren't going so often to Isaiah Pacheco, and they weren't going so often to Miles Sanders, Boston Scott. They were complimenting them, but they weren't the key factor. So in the end, those players are going to benefit from Waddle and Hill. And now, honestly, I think Berrios in the middle of the slot. Last year, we didn't know who we were going to have in the slot. Yeah. Berrios is a Swiss Army. He can come from the backfield. And watch, every time you see, I guarantee you, the first time you see Easy on that field, it's going to be a jet sweep. And I'm telling you, it's going to go for 50. No one's going to be ready for that one. So, honestly, having thoughts on Campbell being on active 53, the injury isn't so significant. Seems like it is a confusing situation. It's because it's a partial tear of the ACL. It's probably going to be mid-October. I think he's been on the 53, but they put him on IR so they can fill the roster spot. But the reason why, and I'm going to end the show in a few minutes, but I want to talk about this. The reason why Justin Bethel and why Justin Bethel and Elijah Campbell are still on the team is they're going to find ways with Kelvin Joseph and maybe with Easy E to be the gunners. But the one benefit we've had and why Justin Bethel's last 12 years in this league is that he's a gunner. And trust me, our special teams, even though they weren't great last year, you still need a very good speed guy who can get to the other player quickly and efficiently. And if you don't have Justin Bethel and Elijah Campbell ready for this at one point in the season as potential that you can buy yourself time, you're paying a price. These guys are not easy to find. They're going to put him on IR. I'm telling you, if he's not ready for the season, they'll just put him on IR. Because once you sign the 53-man roster, you put them on IR, you can fill the roster spot. They're not on season ending. Tight end, running back, just need to take advantage of field stretch, Hill, and Waddle. They don't need to be world beaters. You're right, Wielter. We want the world beater, but if we don't have it, just balance it a little bit more. That's what people are saying. I'm not sure for social media, but something is up there with his ACL. It might be partial. It's not a full, or else he'd be out much longer. But there's something up with his ACL. I know that. Before we call it a night, Hank. So, what are your thoughts heading into Finch Talk today? This coming weekend, we have a bye week, so-called, preparing for the season. What are you excited about What would make you even more positive and a bigger bandwagoner? Do you want to see another signing? Would you like to see another signing on the defense, another signing on the offensive line? Do you want them to extend another player? What would be the warm and fuzzies for Fish Tank Hank over the next week?
The warm and fuzzy would be if they brought in some depth on the defensive line.
Yeah, I want to keep Hicks.
That for me would give me the warm and fuzzy. To be totally honest with you, I think that's where we're lacking the most. And even though they pretend like they didn't try to do something about the offense, they've at least put more players in place than they had last year. Yeah. So, they at least know that they need their backups this time. So,
yeah, especially a middle linebacker too, but they're giving a chance to Van Ginkel to help out with David Long, 100%. I think he's out half the year. We'll have to find out. I hope someone asked the question as he's progressing. Look at Hank's picture behind him. You can't get more love for the Dolphins than that. Yeah, we love that picture. We all love that picture. Hey, what's wrong with my signed Marino poster? I'm telling you, I have enough jerseys to catch me a lifetime. It's funny. Before I joined this show, I had maybe 2 jerseys. Okay. Now I have 7 or 8 jerseys. I have 4 hoodies. I have about 10 hats. Like I really have a crisscross. I love it. But I'm telling
you know what's funny, Evan?
Yeah.
unlike you, I don't have to worry about what I wear every day anymore. You know what I
No,
mean?
I can wear whatever I want. Do you
I
want to know
know,
what my
but
t-shirt?
I'm just saying.
I know, but look,
I wear every day. I wear something Miami Dolphins.
You know what this t-shirt says? This is what everyone wishes they had this t-shirt. It says, one second, let me see if I lift it up. Permanently tired. That's what I am. I'm tired of all the negativity. I'm tired of all the blasphemy. I'm tired of all the bipolarization of our
No,
fan base.
you're not allowed to get angry.
I'm not. I'm back on the bandwagon with my pops. All I needed, guys, was an hour with my pops, and all my overreaction problems go all away. It's the best dose of medicine. So, if you want the same dose of medicine, don't forget to like and subscribe to the FinTalk Sports Network. We're getting to 1,000 subscribers, and we have a lot of content. I believe Fubar might be back tomorrow night. I haven't gotten the memo from those guys yet. You never know. And on Saturday, yeah, Fin's Talk today with El Jefe Bobby Melendez. He plays a role. And then we have Fish Tank Hank bringing the positivity and the lovey-doveys. But, right? So, honestly, don't forget to like and subscribe. But I'm just happy to be here with you, Fish Tank. And it's a pleasure. And I'm having so much fun. And honestly, can you believe this? We are literally not 10 days from kickoff. Is that not insane? Like, we've been talking and talking.
We used to call that 9 and a wake up.
I don't. I'm literally. I told anybody. I'm not answering the phone. I am literally glued. Like, I'm not even gonna move my head, no matter what, for 4 hours until I overreact. Positivity after a win.
Remember, we still have a deadline coming up. When is that new deadline?
Well, the trade deadline is October 31st.
Yeah.
So we'll have some big players, but I think Miami Dolphins are not done yet. And I think that's the one thing I'll give Chris Greer. He likes to make trades. He likes to make a little bit of noise. So for me, I love it. So guys, don't forget to like and subscribe. If you guys want to talk about, if you guys have any interest in wrestling, following the show at 9:15, we will have the No Holds Bar podcast, tribute to Bray Wyatt.
Wait a minute, Joseph's telling me prison talk. No, that's not prison talk. That was underway talk, bro.
No, we love it. And then we have Finn's Talk today on Saturday. On Monday, we have Beer and Sports, East 10th Street Boys. If it doesn't get moved this week, it was on Tuesday because of just an illness. On Tuesday, we have Real Talk Finn's Talk, where I got sucked into there. Then you have the Offside, our new soccer show, Fast Break with basketball, the Damian Lillard Talk. Then on Wednesday, we have Once Upon a Sunday. We had our cool fantasy draft last night where everyone was ripping my team. I don't care, because last year when they ripped my team, I won. So I'm not saying anything. And next Thursday, No Holds Bar will probably be here. I have to work something out. Finn's Bandwagon, we're going to find some time for it. Maybe next Wednesday. If it doesn't work, maybe I'll work out something with Hank next Friday, because I have a little bit of a double commitment for my kids' school because they just started back at school. But anyways, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe. So Fish Tank, any final words?
No, you said it all, Evan. You covered it all. It's a pleasure to be on here.
We love your tattoo. Before we go and we say fins up, can we go robot up?
Robot up. Fins up.
Show off that beautiful tattoo as we head out of there. Fins up, everybody.
Upside down.
It's all good. It's all good. It's gorgeous.